Hello, Acapella world. Deke Sharon here, the world's preeminent #1 acapella nerd. I will take down anybody who thinks they're going to climb higher on the nerd acapella hill than I. King of the mountain. Anyway, I'm here to answer some questions for the lovely, fantastic people at Vocal Australia. I'm having an amazing time down here in Melbourne. And fire away. What kind of questions do we have?
Tell me something good, honey.
So, if I had to pick one word for where I think the next few years of a cappella needs to go, it would be maintenance, if that makes sense. And here's why. So, when I started the Contemporary Acapella Society of America, back in the early 90s, people didn't even know what acapella was. And the style grew, and the sound, and all of the different aspects of the acapella community have grown. And then, blam, everything blew up, Pitch Perfect, and the sing-off, and Pentatonics filling stadiums, and Glee was on Fox, and everybody now knows what acapella is. But, just like after Bring It On, and people get excited about cheerleading, and then they kind of turn their attentions everywhere else, what's happening right now in the acapella world is I think we're getting a level of it kind of quieting down from the media being perpetually obsessed with it, which is totally normal and totally fine, because cheerleading hasn't gone away, and acapella is not going to go away. But what we want to do is make sure that all of the institutions, organizations, and groups that have grown maintain. So when I started the Contemporary Acapella Society of America in the early 90s, there were maybe between 200 and 250 collegiate acapella groups there, and pretty much none anywhere else around the world. Now there are over 3,000 in the US. ICC is huge, and it's taken over. The reason it's the International Championship of College Acapella now is because England has it going strong, and now being here in Australia, you see all these collegiate acapella groups, university groups they call them here, and also in Hong Kong and in Singapore and all of these other places around the world, they're starting to pop up. And I think the key is to really hold there. If we make sure that we can keep this beachhead, we can keep all these groups going, then we'll be able to get really firm footing and continue to grow in these areas that really have a lot of room for growth. More high school groups, and having contemporary acapella be a more stable part of a standard high school curriculum, certainly in the US and ideally elsewhere as well. But that takes more time. Educators are very, very slow to adopt. And if you think about jazz, for instance, jazz, it took over 50 years, I think, before there was a fully accredited and accepted jazz education program and degree at a university from the time that jazz was invented. So it's taking a while for choral organizations to fully embrace what we're doing and not just think of it as like a little dalliance or whatever. Even though singing contemporary acapella is frankly harder than almost all classical choral music, it's just really complicated. So if we get that locked in, more middle school groups going, certainly in the US more kind of adult casual choirs, both the kind of post-collegiate 15 people in size, and then also the pop choir thing, which is huge in Europe. If we get more of those growing, then we'll continue the mission of getting more and more people singing a cappella, even if it isn't in movies right now, because that's okay. Our mission is really just to get more people singing and give more people the opportunity to sing as their ancestors did throughout all of human history and prehistoric times. And then once we do that and we kind of stabilize all this and kind of maintain the gains that we've had, then we'll talk about the next steps in a few years.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Aca-Weekly by Vocal Australia. Be sure to subscribe to our channel to stay up to date.